This is Smart Pizza, and in today's hour-long episode, I'll show you the craziest and most spectacular animal battles caught on camera. You'll see fights between lions and buffaloes, tigers and bears, hippos and crocodiles, rhinos and elephants. I'll tell you how animals fight singly and pack on pack. I'll also show you some crazy fights that'll give you the creeps. It's definitely worth seeing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Buffaloes, lions, and crocodile. A couple of years ago, tourists visiting South Africa's Kruger National Park witnessed an unusual fight involving three sides. The video shot by the tourists shows a lion hunting an old buffalo near a watering hole. The animal had time to notice the danger. The buffalo ran to the river and entered the water to get away from the predator, but in the water was another danger waiting for it – a crocodile. The bull managed to fight off the reptile and then swam to the shore. As if that weren't enough, a whole pride of lions was waiting for it on the shore. Confrontation began. The buffalo tried to defend itself with all its might, running, dodging, and chasing the lions between bushes and near the river. It seemed that a few more minutes and the lions would tear it apart, but then help came. The buffalo was rescued by its congeners that had come to the watering hole. In the end, the herbivores easily got rid of the predators. Goat versus lion. Once again, we have a video involving lions. Once again, there are many of them. But here is only one victim. This time it was a goat that waded into a small lake. The herbivores swam too close to the shore, and one of the lions decided to teach the goat a lesson by attacking it. The lake was by then surrounded by other lions which were watching the confrontation. The lion made a dead set at the poor fellow and was determined. It seemed that everything was on its side. The lion had already practically won, but the goat wasn't easy prey. It fought until the end. The herbivore tried to shake off the annoying big cat, tried not to fall, and tried to get out of the water, in which it was difficult to fight. In the end, the goat was lucky. It threw off the lion, which by that time was already pretty tired. The lion recognized defeat and swam to the shore to its congeners. They probably weren't happy about such a fight. Lion and bull. Yes, sometimes lions are unlucky. They may not be the most perfect predators, but they're certainly some of the bravest animals in the world. Even an old and weakened lion will not give up or walk away from a fight. This footage is direct evidence of that. The video begins with a bull fighting an old and sickly lion that has almost no strength. Despite the fact that a huge and healthy bull is hanging over the lion, the predator is not discouraged and tries to fight back as best it can. Moreover, the lion not only defends itself but also tries to attack the beast. A couple of times the bull was even going to leave, and the lion could also leave to save its skin, but this big cat's not a coward. The lion pounces on the bull time after time. Even though these attacks don't bring anything much, the predator is not going to kill the bull for food. The lion just wants to show that it can still fight, but old age takes its toll. The bull defeats the lion after all. The lion has fallen and will never rise again. As the saying goes, lived without fear and died without fear.
No retreat, no surrender. That is Spartan law.
The bear and the tiger are some of the most famous and ferocious predators on the planet. What would be the outcome if they met in battle? It's hard to say what animal would win more often in such confrontations, but one thing is certain: both predators would fight till the end. This is just such a case. This footage was taken several years ago in the Indian state of Maharashtra during a safari. A local tiger named Matkasur decided to hunt a female sloth bear and its babies. The tiger decided to pounce on one of the cubs and was immediately rebuffed by its mother. A fight ensued. At first, the animals fought near the clearing near the trees, but then they moved on to the clearing itself as if on purpose so the cameraman could film the fight in every detail. As we can see, the tiger has an advantage. It rolls the bear, holds it down in the best traditions of MMA, and wears it down with choking and biting. It would seem that the tiger had to spend a couple more minutes in this position and the bear wouldn't have gotten up. But the maternal instinct opened a second wind in the female. It managed to get up and then it rushed at Matkasur and chased it away. It didn't resist. It seems that it spent all its energy on holding the predator on the ground. Gazelle and cheetah. Cheetahs are very dangerous cats. As the fastest terrestrial animals, they can reach speeds of up to 110 kilometers per hour in just 3 seconds. which means it's impossible to get away from them. Especially, it's impossible for the harmless gazelles that cheetahs love to hunt. This footage shows just such a hunt. Noticing the approaching cheetah, which has already rushed out of the ambush, the gazelle began to run away. At first, it succeeded. The gazelle didn't run in a straight line, but along a curved path and made sharp turns to confuse the cheetah, which had already been joined by its congener. In the end, the cheetah still managed to overtake the gazelle and pounce on it. It began to sink its teeth into the poor creature. Just then, the second cheetah arrived. It seemed as if it was all over, but the gazelle had no intention of giving up. It managed to withstand two predators. First, it stunned the first cheetah, and then furiously attacked the second, goring it with its horns. Even two fast carnivores against one herbivore doesn't always mean victory. The gazelle is celebrating a victory. Caiman and electric eel. Caimans are a real menace in South and Central America. They're one of the most dangerous animals in the Western Hemisphere, feared by almost everyone. But not by the electric eel. This creature is capable of producing real discharges that can kill even a large creature. So what will happen to the caiman? In this footage, the caiman has attacked the electric eel and is sinking its teeth into the eel. The caiman tries its best, clenching its jaws and trying to finish off its victim. But the electric eel fights till the end. It's certainly not going to give up. At some point, it pulls itself together and releases a powerful electric discharge right into the mouth of its offender. Caiman is instantly paralyzed. It can do literally nothing. It doesn't even have time to unclench its jaws, so the eel's left in there. Both opponents lie immobilized by the shore for about a minute and a half. By the end of the video, the caiman did start to move. The eel couldn't kill it. It's not known if the caiman managed to finish off its opponent, but it's possible that the eel survived as well. To me, it would have been fair if the two had just split up. It's a clean draw. Did you know that rhinos are some of the most unpredictable and aggressive animals, which are just waiting to pounce on anyone or anything? But how will this horned fighter show itself against such serious opponents as lions, hippos, and buffaloes? Stay tuned and you'll find it out, because these and many other interesting confrontations with the rhino are waiting for you ahead. Warthog. Outwardly, rhinos seem to be fairly calm animals, but sometimes they show outbursts of rage. Rhinos can become especially violent if someone trespasses on their territory. This footage shows a typical African picture. Animals eating in some forest and the situation's quite calm. There are several warthogs wandering near rhinos. One of them gets closer and closer to the giant. At first, the rhino just looked at the warthog as if to hint that it shouldn't get any closer. But when the warthog didn't take the hint and came close to the rhino's dinner, the giant became furious, picked up the poor fellow with its big horn and tossed it up several meters. It looked both epic and terrifying. I can't even imagine what the poor warthog had gone through. But the main thing is that it survived, even though it was injured. It would probably never go near a rhino now, just to be on the safe side. The tossing of the warthog in the air was very spectacular. It felt as if the rhino had not strained a bit to lift this beast into the air. Against the lions. Unlike hippos, which are fine in bodies of water, rhinos are not very fond of rivers. One of the rhinos has fallen into a small pond and is now trying to get out of it. It can't make it. The huge mass, which usually plays into its hands, now only hinders it. Just at that moment, a small pride of lions was passing nearby. Usually, lions don't attack large rhinos, preferring to attack baby rhinos sometimes, but this time they decided to take advantage of the horned beast's vulnerability. The lions approached the rhino as close as possible and began their attack. When suddenly at this very moment the rhino came ashore and went on the attack itself. It confronted the three lions that had him in a ring and chased each of them. The lions realized that they couldn't take down such a giant, so after a while they cooled down and left the rhino alone. And here we've got a reverse situation. Not the lions came to the rhinos, but the rhino came to the lions. To be honest, it didn't behave very politely because the lions didn't touch anyone and were resting quietly. But is there any politeness in the animal world? One of the lionesses of the pride did not like the intruder, so without thinking twice, it attacked the rhino, clutching its paws under the back of the rhino. But the rhino has thick skin. Even the lion's claws can barely damage it. The rhino didn't like the inhospitable lions and started attacking them, chasing them all over the savannah. There was nothing the kings of the jungle could do about it. They had to abruptly interrupt their rest and run away to survive. The giant made a fuss. Hippo. The hippo is an equal opponent for the rhino. Can it do anything against the horned beast? Let's take a look. This footage was taken several years ago in South Africa. The hippo came to the rhinos in the middle of the night and started pestering them. It looked like the hippo didn't want a confrontation but was just playing around out of boredom. It actively sniffed the rhinos, touched them with its nose, and opened its mouth wide. At first, the rhinos didn't care about the guest, but soon it began to get on their nerves. At one point, one of the rhinos put its long and sharp horn close to the hippo's mouth, pointing it into the palate. After a while, the rhino's patience has run out and it decided to attack the hippo to chase it away from its territory. The hippo realized it went too far when the rhino chased it, nudging it from behind with the tip of its horn. Soon, the hippo ran away, and the satisfied rhino returned to its congeners. Hippo 2. Sometimes the hippo comes to the rhino, and sometimes the rhino comes to the hippo. Everything is the same as in the case of the lions. The footage shows the rhino attacking the lone hippo. For the first seconds of the fight, the hippo at least tried to fight back, opening its giant mouth wide, but after a while it just gave up. Apparently it was wounded or sick because its strength quickly left it. The hippo simply was laying on the grass while the rhino attacked it with its horn. Although the horn was not very big, such blows from a multi-ton beast do not go away. Realizing that blows alone were not enough, the rhino decided to take more serious measures and pushed the hippo from its place it liked. Poor hippo didn't even fight back. In the end, the rhino lost interest in the hippo and walked away, and the wounded hippo left the scene of the battle. Even I feel sorry for it. Against the elephant. This footage shows the meeting of two giants, a rhino and an elephant. We don't know why they didn't like each other, but they ended up having a little fight. And it was the elephant that started it. Apparently, it was in a bad mood that day. The elephant started to attack and punched the rhino in the side. After the first punch, the rhino retaliated and used its sharp horn. The elephant had much more mass than the rhino, which gave it the advantage. The elephant kept pushing the rhino, but it wasn't going to give up. After a few more seconds, the two animals finished the fight. We can say that there was no winner in this fight. The animals were almost equal in terms of power, although it's possible that the rhino could have stabbed the elephant with its horn and won. But the elephant could have won the fight too, right? Rhino versus rhino. Rhinos like to fight not only with other animals but also with their congeners. Rhinos are very aggressive and irascible animals, which in addition are famous for their stubbornness. So even a usual meeting between two individuals can cause a battle. This footage shows a mother and its baby rhino encountering a male rhino. It's unknown what the male did not like, but it decided to attack the female. The rhinos fought and raised a cloud of dust around them. Behind it, you can hardly see the course of the battle. Fortunately, they did not trample the cub. It's not known how the battle ended, but most likely the rhinos just separated because, as a rule, fights between two rhinos don't even end with injuries. And finally, I want to show you the animal that fought back the rhino perfectly. Surprisingly, it was not some huge elephant, toothy crocodile, or other furious giant. The most worthy opponent for the rhino was an antelope. It seems that this is a joke, as the antelope is one of the most unlucky animals in Africa and is hunted by everyone. But as it turns out, its horns are perfect for an equal confrontation with a rhino. This footage shows the antelope begin to fight the rhino, which is many times heavier than it is. The antelope is in no way inferior to the giant. It confidently pushes the rhino, so that the rhino has to retreat. Soon the couple is distracted by a pickup truck and they separate. Who knows how the fight would have ended if not for the pickup? In any case, the antelope emerged victorious, even from such an unfinished battle. Both the tiger and the lion are considered to be the strongest big cats in the world. But how to determine which of them is stronger? Considering that in natural conditions, these two dangerous predators do not cross each other because they live in different places of the planet. Fortunately, there have been some encounters between lions and tigers after all. Let's have a look at them. Next, I'll show you some amazing confrontations between these animals. Real fights. This black and white footage captures a real fight between a lion and a tiger. They were in a deep pit and people were watching from above. The tiger attacked the lion first and the fight ensued. The lion was really angry and started to fight back. It was a life or death fight. Rivals rolled over the ground. No one wanted to give in and show their weakness. Each pounced mercilessly on its opponent, biting it and beating it with powerful clawed paws. Despair was palpable. Soon the tiger began to lose consciousness. He'd lost much energy in such a short time, and although the lion did not fall to the ground, it suffered more than the tiger, receiving multiple wounds on its body and near its eye. The king of the jungle began its attack again, but the weakened tiger was able to respond. The lion was also exhausted and could not continue the fight, being wounded. The tiger was still lying on the ground, washed out, clearly in pain. And this case happened in the Moscow State Circus several years ago. The audience managed to film a tiger attacking a lion right in the middle of the show. A tiger named Dieter rushed at the young lion, David, knocked it to the ground, and grabbed its neck with its fangs. This was almost tragic. To somehow separate the predators, the famous Russian animal trainers, Zafashny brothers, threw pedestals at them. But it wasn't enough. They had to shoot in the air. This was the only way the big cats got away from each other. Apparently, Dieter, which, according to the animal trainers, was the instigator of fights more than once, wanted to show power to young David, and it decided to do it in front of hundreds of amazed spectators. Jian Zoo in China. A lion and tiger had a fight. Most likely, the lion was protecting the females from a potential enemy. They both got up on their hind legs and started throwing massive blows. The lion didn't fight back too long and moved away from the tiger. It still had something to say, and it's obvious, but it didn't dare to do it yet. The tiger, meanwhile, slowly and nonchalantly walked away. But here the king of the jungle did gather its courage, and the fight was resumed for a few seconds. It's still the same territory. Most likely it's the same couple from the previous video. The predators still can't find common ground. However, the tiger, unlike the nervous lion, looks more peaceful. Its composure is surprising. It even lies down on the grass and starts sunbathing. And here the big cats fly out of the wild forest onto the road. The tiger finds itself on its back, and you can see how it resists with all its might and still gets up on its paws. The lion realizes that it's facing an equal opponent. In this footage, the king of the jungle is resting peacefully when a tiger of imposing size appears next to it. It's not going to attack the lion, it just wants to pass by. But the lion reminds us once again that the tiger has wandered into the wrong place. The females lying nearby, by the way, do not pay even the slightest attention to the striped cat. I think you've already realized that the lion is an extremely dangerous predator. So what creature can stand up to it? How about buffaloes? Despite the fact that these bulls are herbivores, they're quite capable of fighting ferocious lions. What do such confrontations look like, and which animals win them? Stay tuned and you'll find out. Buffalo versus lion. Still pondering which animal can be considered the most dangerous in Africa? According to official statistics, African buffaloes kill about 200 humans every year. Despite the fact that buffaloes are herbivores, their aggression would be the envy of many predators. This is why there's no attempt to domesticate this species, and guides on safari tours warn tourists that it's extremely dangerous to approach these bulls. Curiously, the closest relative of these aggressors, the Asiatic or water buffalo, has a very peaceful disposition and has long been used in agricultural activity. A curious fact, the battle between lions and buffaloes is rarely seen in the daytime. Lions are strong animals that hunt in coordinated groups and chase their chosen prey. However, they can only run fast for short distances and must stay close to their prey when attacking. They take advantage of factors that help them achieve this. In particular, they hunt at night. Lions sneak up on a herd of ungulates until the distance is reduced to 30 meters or less. The footage shows that the lion has succeeded in catching and dropping the weakened herbivore to the ground. But such maneuvers rarely go unpunished because adult males always come to the aid of their wounded congeners. The herd leader lifts up a large cat with such force that the predator flies several meters upward. Usually, lions prefer to retreat after such an attack. No prey is worth the life of a pride member, and in a close fight, buffalo horns can not only pierce the skin of the predator, but also cause great damage to its internal organs. Battle at Kruger. However, not all battles between animals are so fleeting that they end up only in YouTube highlights. Some lion and buffalo battles are so epic that they become world famous. For example, the now famous Battle at Kruger was originally just an amateur video. During a safari on the African savanna, American tourist David Budzinski decided to catch on camera young lions resting near the waterhole, but suddenly became an accidental witness to a dramatic confrontation between African buffaloes, pride of young lions, and a crocodile. David himself thought his video was just a keepsake and blatantly amateur shot. However, after the video was uploaded to YouTube in May 2007, it became incredibly popular. The videos garnered tens of millions of views, won several prizes, and even got articles in major newspapers. The plot of the video can be called classic for the savanna. At the beginning of the video, we see a family of buffaloes heading for a watering hole. The herbivores probably have no idea that a lion pride is resting near the water. Meanwhile, the vigilant cats notice the buffaloes approaching, cling to the ground, and take up positions in preparation for an attack. The unsuspecting buffalo walking ahead of another buffalo and a calf slowly approaches them. It hesitates for a while and then takes another step, and suddenly, seeing the lions, turns around and runs away from them. Another buffalo and a calf follow its example. The lions immediately attack and target the young calf, which is accidentally pushed into the water by one of the lions. The battle continues in the water. The calf turns over on its back and kicks at the water. This attracts the attention of the crocodile, which suddenly attacks the lion, forcing it to run ashore. Then this crocodile, or perhaps another crocodile, attacks the calf and pulls it into the water by its hind leg. The lions, meanwhile, unite and pull it to the shore with the crocodile. The crocodile makes one last effort and loses its grip, then crawls away into the water. The lions continue their hunt, but a herd of buffalo is already moving toward them. Not immediately aware of their numerical superiority, the herbivores hesitate at first. Finally, one of them attacks and chases away the lions, and then tosses another lion into the air. The unexpected attack frightens the lions and they rush away. During the fight, the wounded calf escapes from the predator's paws and joins the herd. The buffaloes disperse the remaining lions and chase them for some time. A lion might be the king of the jungle, but this buffalo seems decided to become the king of the beach. Not a bad prospect, don't you think? An enraged lion tries to sneak up on the horned beast as it strolls along the riverbank. To say that the buffalo didn't like it is to say nothing. Moreover, it even seemed decided to chase the lion that had disturbed it so unceremoniously. And here the buffalo literally decided to do some bullying. Apparently, it didn't really like the lioness resting quietly nearby. It obviously had no intention to attack, but the buffalo wanted to demonstrate its strength and maybe to show off its horns. It caught the poor lioness with them, threw it over itself, and ran away, like a real gentleman. Well, it happens in nature. But the big cat must have been injured. In this footage, you can see how a lone buffalo decided to attack almost the whole lion's pride. Yeah, well, there are a lot of them, but it's alone. Isn't that a guarantee of success? And one of the lions seemed to be hungrier than all and decided not to waste time. But look, the buffalo's no longer so lonely. A herd comes to its rescue. But here's trouble again. The buffalo gang has only created the illusion of a crowd, and their exhausted fellows remain lying, surrounded by large and very hungry big cats. Apparently, in this case, the instinct of self-preservation still prevailed, and despite the buffalo's feeble attempts to start the slaughter, they failed to take their congener from the clawed paws. We've looked at the battles between buffaloes and lions, but what about other animals? How will the buffalo behave when facing a rhino, a hippo, and a crocodile? Next, I'll show you just such crazy and interesting confrontations caught on camera. Buffalo versus rhino. Buffaloes are incredibly large land animals. They instantly go from calm to furious and can be extremely stubborn and quite unpredictable. The mass of a male rhino can reach up to 5 tons, and its body length can exceed 4 meters. The front horn of this monster can reach 1.5 meters in length, representing a very formidable tool. I wonder what's up with these two. Are you gonna bet on the winner? The rhino, as you can see, is more massive than its opponent. By the way, its horn is sharper and larger. And after a long exchange of glances, it attacks first. But the bull is stubborn and confident. The rhino drags the buffalo for several meters and begins to spin. You can see that the rhino is more than serious and is not going to stop even though other bulls have already pulled up to the scene. It seems that this has further fired up the rhino. This furious animal topples over one of the buffalo and continues to crush. In the end, the herd runs away from it. Buffalo versus hippo. Predators hunt on hippos in different ways. Young hippos are occasionally hunted by crocodiles, lions, and spotted hyenas. Adult hippos, on the other hand, are rarely hunted by other animals because of their enormous size and violent temperament. The African buffaloes are also known for being one of Africa's most dangerous animals. What happens when these two giants clash? For example, this hippo doesn't want other animals to interfere with its enjoyment of a sunny day at the beach, especially when it comes to a herd of buffaloes very close by. With its mouth wide open, it starts running around as if to force all the buffaloes to leave the place. It looks like a final warning. One by one, the buffaloes start to scatter, but the mighty hippo has already acquired the taste for it, continuing its action until the beach is completely deserted. Well, getting away from that greedy hippo in this case was the best solution. Here, the hippo opens its mouth wide, too, as if to inform the buffalo of its impending attack. Come on, buffalo, leave in a nice way. Nevertheless, the buffalo remains unperturbed. The huge monster still attacks the buffalo. Well, it was warned. The hippo drags the stubborn bull into the water, trying to crush it. The buffalo realizes that there's no joke here and finally runs away. Buffalo versus crocodile. The crocodile is very fast in the water, and its sharp teeth need not be mentioned. These reptiles attack animals that live directly in the water, near the water, or those that simply come to the watering. Do you think a crocodile won't attack a buffalo because it's objectively several times smaller than its opponent? Besides, what are the horns alone worth? Well, how can I put it? For example, here we have a very tense moment. A herd of buffaloes is drinking peacefully from a pond and doesn't seem to feel threatened at all, but the idyll is about to be broken by a crocodile that has decided that one of the bulls could be its perfect breakfast. The reptile manages to grab the buffalo by the neck, but look how strong this animal is. It manages to pull the crocodile to dry land. The crocodile, realizing that the horned opponent was not as simple as it initially seemed, immediately runs back into the water and most likely begins to think about another dinner option. By the way, buffaloes have excellent hearing and a fine sense of smell, but their eyesight rather mediocre. Maybe hearing and smell save that bull. Buffalo versus buffalo. Visitors to Kruger National Park in South Africa were able to catch on camera a tense buffalo battle for territory. 5 buffaloes surrounded an elderly congener. 5 on 1's not fair. One of them hooked its horns on its opponent, thus trying to drive it out of the territory. The victim managed to escape, but one of its attackers came after it at once. Separate from the others, the 2 adversaries engaged in an even match. The outcome of the battle remained unknown. And in this footage, the 2 African buffaloes appear to be figuring out which horns are tougher. Third buffalo also seems to be okay with entering this contest, but it's not accepted. The winning buffalo hooks the leg with its horns and lifts up the defeated buffalo as it rushes off. Would you like to see the buffalo in person? Let me know in the comments. Next in this episode, I'll show you the most incredible and interesting animal pack collisions worth seeing. Tigers versus crocodiles. Many tigers are constantly under the pressure of the scorching heat, which makes them stay in the vicinity of large rivers where they often go to drink. It's there that they meet their potential enemies, crocodiles. For example, Bengal tigers may encounter at least 3 crocodile species, 2 of which may engage in aggressive interactions with them. Fights between Bengal tigers and various crocodiles have been recorded mainly in India and Bangladesh. Other tiger subspecies, such as the Malaysian and Indo-Chinese tigers, may also encounter other crocodile species, such as the false gharial or the Siamese crocodile. But almost nothing is known about their interactions. In the mangrove forest, crocodiles are at an advantage because water's their native element. Forced to swim across water obstacles, Bengal tigers can sometimes be attacked by saltwater crocodiles. In addition, big cats are often forced to give their prey to aggressive and persistent reptiles. In the case of 2 predators deciding to fight for access to water, the outcome of the fight will not be easy to predict. Dexterity is the advantage of tigers. They may well have time to slash a crocodile with claws in the first minutes or even seconds of the fight. But if they fail to do that, it'll be hard to avoid the crocodile's return bite. And this bite can turn into a capture at any moment. It's much easier for the reptile to drag a tiger underwater, where it will be helpless. Lions versus hyenas. In the wild, lions have very few natural enemies. Those animals that dare to fight the king of the jungle usually rely not on physical strength or speed, but on strategy and teamwork. But what does this have to do with hyenas? In fact, hyenas are some of the most underrated predators of the savanna. They're considered scavengers, yet they're capable of hunting on their own. A pack of hyenas has all the makings to be kings of the hunt, but they're just lazy. After all, it's much easier to take away or steal the prey. Is it easy to take the prey from a lion? Not usually, because the lion's pride stands guard over its congeners. 2 or 3 members of the feline family can fight back a whole pack of hyenas, but not in this case. In this footage, events develop rapidly and clearly not in the favor of the lioness. It was all alone, and the pack of hyenas was well aware of this. How many of you have tried to see the prey on the ground? Doesn't seem to be there. The lioness must have annoyed this pack for it to dare to attack the lioness without a material benefit for them. However, when the situation became more difficult for the lioness, its pride came to the rescue. Having heard the noise of the fight, the hyenas didn't stand a chance. They needed to get away. Crocodiles versus hippos. Let's return to the toothy reptiles. Crocodiles are some of the most dangerous predators on the planet. This is proven by their powerful bites and unsurpassed skill in ambush hunting. Even the largest and strongest animals prefer not to mess with crocodiles, and only hippos have no choice. Very often, hippos and crocodiles have to share the same territory. Of course, with such close proximity, conflicts are inevitable. As a rule, both sides try not to break the fragile truce so as to not unleash a war on their territory. However, a crocodile finds it difficult to restrain its hunting instincts. Neighboring with a large bloat of hippos, it may well hunt on the weak, old, or, on the contrary, too young members of the group. The prey is tempting. The hippo is one of the largest animals on Earth, which can weigh up to 3 tons. If victorious, the crocodile can feed for a long time. But is the game worth it? A female protecting its cub is capable of killing a predator. Nevertheless, crocodiles often win such battles. Elephants versus lions. Few predators would dare to oppose elephants openly. The size of these giants speaks for itself. A herd of adult elephants can be considered an almost invulnerable community. However, there are still brave ones. Otherwise, why do elephants always retort so sharply to the proximity of lion prides? More often than not, such clashes have a reason. For example, overlapping territorial boundaries. Sometimes predators dare to attack baby elephants. They're much more vulnerable, especially if they're strayed from the herd. This video, which a naturalist managed to shoot in one of Kenya's reserves, is just such a case. A lion pride takes a female elephant and its cub by surprise. The mother fights desperately, but it cannot drive all the lions away in one movement. By the time the rest of the herd comes to the rescue, it's too late to fight. The herd rushes to the attack, but the baby elephant can no longer be helped. It's a pity, but that's just the way of the wild. Monkeys versus lions. It's not for nothing that many zoologists like to repeat that the behavior of wild monkeys resembles that of humans in many ways. These animals are not strangers to compassion. They're extremely intelligent and are able to communicate and pass complex fragments of information to each other. Scientists believe that every sound in primate calls actually has a meaning. Despite the fact that most species of monkeys have powerful limbs and sharp claws, they prefer to run away from the battlefield rather than fight. Such is the case this time. Like many conflicts in the African savanna, this one unfolds near a watering hole, a place where all the inhabitants of the area traditionally gather to rest and quench their thirst. A troop of monkeys and a lion pride don't seem to notice each other, but suddenly one of the lionesses darts off. It's unknown what served as the trigger for its hunter mode, but the little runaway is in serious trouble. The poor creature's congeners, watching the scene from the trees, immediately signal to others the danger. The other cats in the pride are also activated. They already smell prey. However, the monkeys are clearly warned that the fight will be unequal. Instead of retreating to the shore, they rush into the water. the only element where lions feel insecure. The troop manages to escape, but the baby who fled from the lioness in the beginning could not be helped. Speaking of crazy animal battles, one cannot ignore such graceful, agile, and strong predators as leopards. Most of them live in Africa, but they can also be found in the Middle East and Asia. No matter where they live, leopards can make some nasty attacks on other animals. Next, I'll show you some spectacular and crazy leopard attacks that'll give you the creeps. Leopard and bull. This footage shows a leopard ambushing its weaker prey. All the horned ones rush to the defense of their youngest congener. Here's a similar situation. Fortunately, the parent manages to repel the baby. Leopard and python. In Kenya's Masai Mara Game Reserve, tourists witnessed a fierce battle between a leopard and a python. The overconfident leopard thought the reptile crawling in the grass was easy prey. Only it didn't consider that it was the python that it was attacking. A fierce fight ensued. Both adversaries used their own defensive and combative tactics. Each strove to win. The python managed to wrap its rings tightly around the leopard, and it seemed that the big cat was doomed. Nevertheless, the leopard showed fantastic feline agility and managed to escape the strong embrace. In the end, the leopard succeeded. It proudly sat down next to the defeated victim, although it didn't avoid injuries either. Leopard and monkey. Of all the big cats, leopards are the best at climbing trees. There's a little monkey sitting in a tree. The leopard, not wanting to miss the opportunity, climbs the tree with ease. Not only that, it easily jumps on the second tree. Pay attention. An incredible jump up and the monkey can no longer escape. And here, the hunter almost became a victim itself. Baboons are famous for showing aggression at the sight of big cats, even if they didn't intend to attack. Well, it's an understandable attempt to defend their territory. Leopards try to go hunting at night. After all, monkeys have very poor eyesight. In the dark, leopards can see 6 times better than baboons. However, this cat made a small misstep and climbed the tree to the potential victims even before dark. The monkey began attacking it with loud screams as soon as it was on the branch. The spotted cat tried in vain to hold on, but its attempts were unsuccessful. The finale for the leopard was a harsh rebuff from the baboon, falling out of the tree and running away. Leopards and birds. Here, the tourists were able to capture the lightning leap of the predator. The leopard spotted a bird at the top of the tree and immediately caught it. Yes, leopards hunt a variety of birds. It would seem that birds can flap their wings and avoid the jaws of the leopard, but the preceding and following footage proves otherwise. Here, for example, a big cat spotted a bird of prey on the tree and immediately tried to attack. The first attempt was very unsuccessful, but the leopard didn't throw up its paws, and on the second attempt, it achieved its goal. Leopard and antelope. There's an impala grazing under a tree. At first glance, there's nothing unusual. But there's one thing. There's a leopard hiding in the tree. You can't see it yet because of the lush branches. And now we see the cat's leap. The impala had practically no chance. Now it's at the mercy of the predator. The tragedy of the situation is heightened by the baboons, which start jumping around as if they want to interfere. Here's a similar situation. What a graceful leap by the leopard. The prey is already in its teeth. And here comes the mad attack on the impalas right off the ground. The predator got as close as possible to the harmless animals, ran, and carried out its plan. By the way, the maximum speed the little leopard can achieve varies around 50 kilometers per hour. That's cool, but everything's relative. Such result is very modest compared to the fastest terrestrial animal on the planet, the cheetah, which can reach speeds of 110 kilometers per hour and even more. Look, the spotted creature is lurking on a tree. It's obviously up to something and is keeping its eyes on some animal. Can't see it yet because of the high vegetation. And now we see a confident jump down. The predator's target, as we can now see, was the steenbok, a small antelope only half a meter tall. A little later, witnesses filmed how the leopard with a captured antelope in its mouth jumped over a small stream and climbed into another tree where it began to prepare for dinner. One may have already wondered why a leopard would drag its prey up a tree. Wouldn't it be easier to eat it on the ground? Everything's simple. If you leave your prey on the ground, lions and hyenas can pick it up. A leopard can chase away one animal, but what if a whole group comes? In that case, it's the leopard itself that will be chased away. But since the spotted cat is a skilled tree climber, it can easily drag heavy prey up a tree. Once a record case was registered. A leopard dragged the carcass of a young giraffe weighing 125 kilograms up a 5-meter-high tree. And how much do leopards weigh then? The females weigh about 50 kilograms, and the males weigh about 70 kilograms or more. So we found out that in a tree, no one can stop a leopard from enjoying its meal. Or can one get in its way? Let's see. African savanna. It's beautiful, isn't it? So what do we have here? A lioness looking for something. Oh, there's a second one in the tree. Wait, what's going on? It seems that the queen of the jungle wanted to brazenly snatch its prey from the leopard. Indeed, the spotted predator caught the prey and dragged it to the tree as usual. But the fresh prey was smelled by other cats, one of which managed to climb the tree. Of course, a serious fight soon ensued in the tree. Everything would be fine, well, at least for one predator, if it weren't for gravity. The branch failed to withstand the massive lioness and broke under both lovers of fresh meat, which promptly flew down together with the prey. The leopard immediately fled the scene. Maybe it was already full. Leopard and gazelle. The arrangements of the spots on the skin is unique to each leopard. The main function of the spotted fur of leopards is to camouflage predators during hunting. And here's a vivid example. A female leopard crawls cautiously in the grass, surprisingly low to the ground. Finally, it approached the gazelles grazing nearby. The moment of attack arrives. The hoofed mammal didn't even have time to come to its senses. Leopard and hyena. In an African national park, eyewitnesses captured unique footage. A group of antelopes was running past a tourist off-roader. One of them lagged behind its congeners and, unfortunately, was attacked by a leopard lurking behind the trees. But within seconds, the hungry hyena came to the scene of battle and chased away the spotted predator. The antelope wasn't lucky. It couldn't escape from the jaws of the hyena either. Meanwhile, the leopard tried to retrieve its prey but failed. The more agile and younger hyena defeated the old leopard. Leopard and porcupine. The leopard can also choose such interesting animals as porcupines as a prey. Apparently, predators are not frightened by the long and sharp needles of these rodents. Here, the leopard is aiming at the porcupine's hind legs. Many of the needles were scattered around, but even that didn't stop the cat. Thus, the leopard got its prey that day. Once again, the action takes place in Kruger National Park in South Africa. The action is right on the road where people were watching everything. Eyewitnesses stressed that this battle between the leopard and the porcupine lasted about an hour and a half. Despite the fact that the predator's paws are bloody, it stubbornly continues to attack the prickly animal, and the latter, in turn, only teases its enemy. In the end, the leopard still conceded defeat. Leopard and crocodile. The leopard was strolling near a body of water. It ran up to the water and dared to take a swing at the potentially easy prey. However, it belonged to a crocodile, which the spotted cat obviously didn't notice. The hungry predator made several attempts to take the prey from the crocodile lurking in the water. The clash was tense. Leopard and dog. This case took place in India. It's a great example of how to respond to offenders. The footage shows a dog lying peacefully on the road when a leopard jumps on it out of the blue. It's unclear why the dog was even resting there, but it wasn't frightened, but rather reacted instantly, stood firmly on all four paws, and began barking furiously at the offender. The leopard didn't understand what was going on and hurried away from the aggressive mud. Leopard and leopard. A hungry leopard caught a wild boar which was noticeably larger. The warthog began to squeal and tried to escape. The noise probably attracted the other leopard. It too wanted to participate in the hunt. The first leopard didn't want to share, so it took a defensive stance. Then the predators began a fierce battle. They were so carried away that they didn't notice the prey escaped right out from under their noses. Which animal will be next in this episode? It has a very long neck, eats plants, and is covered in spots. I think you guessed, it's a giraffe. How do these giants fight, and what creatures do they have a beef with? What can these fights look like? Let's find out now. Next, I'll show you some crazy giraffe attacks caught on camera. Tourists in Kruger National Park in the Republic of South Africa managed to film an incident which was unusual for them, but quite normal for such an environment. The video itself starts from the moment when the giraffe is already trying to get up from the ground. Apparently, this strange behavior of the animal attracted tourists. So the giraffe wants to get on its feet and still falls down. Then it becomes clear why it does not succeed. A huge crocodile comes into view, and it fangs into the victim's leg. Desperate attempts to escape from the jaws of such a large predator could never succeed. According to the guide of the tour group, people noisily supported the giraffe's attempts to free itself and were very worried about it. Eventually, the reptile let the exhausted giraffe go. However, the giraffe could not move because of its leg injury. Unfortunately, the giraffe was still waiting for a sad outcome. Apparently, fate really can't be avoided. It miraculously escaped from a crocodile, but fell into the jaws of another predator. It turns out that all this time the lions were watching the fight closely, and as soon as the crocodile crawled away, the lions immediately went to work. The next day, there was nothing left of the giant. Giraffe and lion. Lions are probably the only serious enemies of adult giraffes. Most often they attack when the giraffe is lying, standing, or clumsily bent, drinking water or nibbling on grass. By the way, young giraffes are also hunted by other predators, such as leopards and hyenas. One must remember that a giraffe can strike in such a way that the attacking predator's bones are broken. Therefore, attacks on giraffes pose a significant risk to predators, and they need to soberly assess their abilities and strength if they don't want to be trampled. The footage captures a striking picture. We should thank the tourists who managed to film this in one of the nature reserves in South Africa. 1 adult giraffe and 5 lions. Will the spotted creature survive in such an uneven fight? 2 of the lions got hold of the giraffe's hind legs, and a third jumped on its back. Their goal was to get the prey to the ground as quickly as possible. Try as they might, the big cats did not succeed. The giraffe walked calmly with such a dangerous load. By the way, eyewitnesses emphasized that the giraffe had been defending itself for 5 hours. No wonder that the lions had simply run out of patience. The giraffe came out practically without injuries, not counting the wound on its limbs. The neck, on the other hand, was unharmed. By the way, it's not particularly surprising. The giraffe's skin is so thick that the Maasai people make shields from it, able to protect them from the attacks of various predators. This video shows a lion walking past 2 giraffes. You can see how the predator deliberately walks around them to get behind them. It tries to sneak up on the herbivores in order to attack them, but the mother giraffe is also aware that the animal is not harmless. It turns around and looks directly at the lion. It doesn't hesitate long and rushes out to attack. The predator grabs the female by the leg, but it manages to kick the king of the jungle back. The female and its cub then try to flee, but the lion catches the baby giraffe almost immediately. Unfortunately, these giraffes were unlucky. The mother lost its cub, and the cub became a victim of the big cat. But this does not always happen. Giraffes have very good eyesight, hearing, and sense of smell, which allows them to spot danger in advance. Of course, their large stature also contributes to good visibility. Giraffes can see their tall relatives up to 1 kilometer away. Look how small the lioness seems compared to the giraffe. And you can't tell that lions are not big animals. The big cat catches up with the giraffe and fails at the coveted jump. The lioness falls on its back and ends up under the giraffe's hooves. It should be mentioned that giraffes can run up to 60 kilometers per hour and maintain a speed of 50 kilometers per hour at a distance of several kilometers. However, the highest land animal can move actively only on a hard surface. Giraffes bypass the marshy ground and rivers. Here, a group of lions take turns attacking the giraffe. They try to knock it down by digging their sharp teeth into the legs of the spotted animal, but all this looks pointless. Clearly, the lion's efforts are in vain. The giraffe easily manages to throw off the pesky cats, though it doesn't try to hit the exact target with its legs. The big cat has wandered into the wrong territory. At the very least, it has no business being here alone. If it had decided to attack, in all likelihood, it would have already been on the ground, badly injured. Notice how wary the giraffes are. By the way, how do such tall animals even live? They're social animals. The previous footage just shows them sticking together. Giraffes live in loose, open towers in which the number of individuals can vary from 10 to 20. Individuals can join or leave the tower at will. Giraffe and hyena. Once again, South Africa's famous Kruger National Park. Tourists witness an attempted attack by hyenas on a baby giraffe. The poor baby had a broken leg. Because of the injury, the cub fell behind its mother, and a clan of hyenas began to approach it. For them, a weak and wounded animal is something like a holiday, just too easy prey. One of the hyenas came very close but did not dare to attack because the cub's mother was nearby. When the mother moved away, the predators made another attempt. 2 hyenas jumped out of the bushes. The cub was very frightened and ran on 3 legs. The female noticed what was happening and rushed to meet it. It arrived very timely and scared off the predators. The hyenas, seeing it, reluctantly retreated and settled down in the shadows nearby. Interestingly, giraffes do almost everything standing up. Of all mammals, giraffes probably have one of the least need for sleep, just 10 minutes to 2 hours a day. 2 hours a night to get a good night's sleep. I wish we could do the same. They stand to rest, but they can also sleep lying down. To do this, giraffes twist their long necks and place them on their hips. But they do so when they're sure that there's no danger nearby. And if they want to sleep and can't lie down, they'll stand up. They have such powerful neck muscles that their head can be held upright in their sleep. When they drink water, they spread their front legs wide enough to be able to bend down sufficiently. Interestingly, they may not drink for several weeks because giraffes satisfy their need for water primarily with food. If a giraffe does drink, it can drink up to 35 to 40 liters of water at a time. Not only do giraffes have long necks and powerful legs, for example, an adult giraffe's tongue can be a half a meter long. It's muscular, hard, and coarse. Nature made it so that it would not hunt giraffes to grab and tear leaves of the thorny acacia tree. This, by the way, is a favorite delicacy of the herbivorous giants. Giraffe and giraffe. Let's get back to the fights. Have you ever seen 2 giraffes fight? Although they're very peaceful animals, they can still get into fights sometimes. Here, 2 angry giraffes are swinging their long necks in an attempt to hit each other. The neck is the most powerful weapon. The goal of the fight is to knock the opponent down. During the fight, the rivals also use their horns. Here it is. One of the giraffes swings but does not hit its opponent. It's skillfully dodged. Trying not to get hit by its opponent, the giraffe can't stay on its feet and falls down. There are many animals in the world that fear almost nothing. Most of them are top predators and the largest animals on the planet. But still, the most fearless animal on Earth is considered a small honey badger. Why is this so? What's its strength and peculiarity? And how does it behave in battle? In the final part of this episode, I'll tell and show you why honey badgers are the most fearless animals in the world. Lions. An unusual episode was filmed somewhere in Africa a few years ago. There were 6 lions in the savannah, 2 lionesses, and 4 growing lion cubs. They were standing calmly when suddenly 2 honey badgers ran by nearby. Those had an urge to fight the lion cubs, and they headed toward them. The adult females had first-hand knowledge of the fearlessness of honey badgers, so they ignored them, preferring not to mess with these crazy creatures. The lion cubs were inexperienced, so they decided to pounce on the honey badgers. They started biting and punching one of them, not realizing that they were making a mistake. The honey badger didn't care. It looked like it didn't feel the punches. Moreover, it started attacking the lions by itself. The lioness rushed to the rescue. They grabbed the honey badger and began to roll it on the ground, but the animal didn't care. It broke free and continued fighting. At one point, the lioness grabbed the brave creature again, but it bit the lioness painfully on the muzzle. After that, all the big cats retreated, and the honey badgers went on their way. Where else could you find such a beast that would single-handedly kick 6 lions? Python. A couple of years ago, tourists on a safari in Botswana's Chobe National Park filmed an interesting scene of a python attacking a honey badger, but ended up being its victim. The enormous python tried to strangle the honey badger, but was prevented by a passing jackal. While the python chased the jackal away, it loosened its grip, which was immediately taken advantage of by the honey badger that wanted revenge on its offender. The honey badger freed itself from the snake's grasp, and the roles were reversed. Instead of running away and leaving its prey to the jackals, the honey badger began to chase them away, and at some point the animals began to pull the python like a rope. The second jackal bit the honey badger, but the fearless predator paid no attention to this and eventually won. To the tourist's surprise, the honey badger showed the jackals its sharp teeth and aggressive nature and successfully fought them off, dragging its prey to a shelter behind a bush. Okay, everything's understandable with the python, but what about the venomous snakes? I already told you about honey badgers being immune to snake venom, but how exactly do battles between these animals occur? Let's take a look. The honey badger's rival is the puff adder. This species of snake isn't as famous as the notorious black mamba or king cobra, but the puff adder is just as dangerous. I'll tell you more. The puff adder kills more people in Africa than any other snake on the continent. A single dose of puff adder venom is enough to kill several adults. And what about the honey badger? This footage, taken by the research team at night, shows the clash between the puff adder and the honey badger. First, the honey badger shows brazenness, takes the prey from the snake, and eats it literally a meter away from the viper. The dazed reptile has no choice but to stare at the insolent. But that's not enough for the honey badger. A few seconds later, it attacks the snake itself. The animal fights, and in the end, the honey badger wins. It subdues the snake and begins to eat it. But soon the team of scientists notices a swelling on the honey badger's cheek. The reptile managed to bite the animal after all. The honey badger stops eating the snake and passes out, as if it's been put under a powerful anesthetic. It just passes out. Despite being bitten by an extremely venomous snake, the honey badger only slept for a couple of hours, then woke up and went on its way. Although it still had some swelling from the bite, it felt fine overall. Scientists still don't know why honey badgers are so resistant to venom. The insane immunity of these fearless animals is a mystery to them. Crocodile. African crocodiles are extremely dangerous animals. Only hippos, elephants, and lions can resist them. However, crocodiles also have another enemy, and that is, of course, the honey badger. For example, this footage shows the intrepid honey badger fighting the dangerous crocodile. The animals wrestled for a bit, after which the honey badger simply walked away without sustaining any damage. The only reason it left the battlefield was the large size of the reptile. For all the toughness of the honey badgers, they can't handle a big crocodile. They can only give the giant a smack. But things are easier with small crocs. In this video, we can see a honey badger dragging a small crocodile using its teeth. The reptile is completely at its mercy and will soon become a delicacy for the predator's dinner. Hyenas. Hyenas are some of Africa's most dangerous, cruel, and creepy inhabitants. But even these monsters prefer to stay away from honey badgers. They're afraid of these crazy animals and do not want to mess with them. Hyenas dare to attack a honey badger only in a group, as in this case. A clan of hyenas feels more confident when confronting a honey badger. They chase it through a wooded savanna area, but the honey badger doesn't care who opposes it. It bares its teeth and chases one of the other hyena, periodically biting them. Although the honey badger eventually escaped, the hyenas could not fight it or even injure it. I think the honey badger ran away simply because it got bored. If it had wanted to, it could have kicked the hyenas hard. Well, that's it for today. Which confrontation from this episode impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.